happen. I can see that right now.
Thanks for being on Codebreaker Real Talk with Tom Althouse again. I think it's like the 19th time we're here. I'm so excited. And my co-host Chad. Thank you guys. So Tom, I couldn't get a hold of you. I said, hey, we're having the show. Just a reminder, what happened?
Well, I was downloading FBI information for another show, and the phone went like this. So it just stopped. It's just so stupid. Like the green robot on the computer that happened back when we were downloading Mike Lang information from Disney with Honeypot Wife. So this all just is gone. And now it's saying on my surface right here, it says the iPhone cannot be restored. The device cannot be found when it's plugged into the computer. So I got a blind computer that can't even find this when it's plugged in. So yeah, so basically they're destroying evidence because everything's going forward. So specific contacts on Facebook, I can't contact them. It will erase the phone icon. When one called me from another country, it's put the green accept button, and I punched that like 40 times. Nothing happened. Makes it look like I'm not receiving the calls. People can't message me. So basically, this is it. This is all I have left. I've got email, selective email, and Zoom. So yeah, pretty much.
So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I checked Messenger because usually, I don't have my notifications
right
on. Sure, I'll go in there once in a while and I'm like, holy F last night. I'm like, yes, we're on, Tom, we're on. And before we go into what's going on, I just wanted to read real quick. I did tell you that I had 4 dreams of you. And one of them was December 21st, 2022 at 8 in the morning. I had a dream I was in a hotel along with officers, Tom Althouse, Michael Jaco. I did see another female there with me and the rest of the gang. We were talking on the bed, just laughing. And this is when we had our bathing suits on because we had been swimming because we were in the Navy.
Something I would do. Yeah, I love swimming.
Yeah. We were in the Navy in this memory. And so there's a knock on the door and one of the commanders says, here's your certificate, Veronica, welcome. You are in the Navy. And Michael Jaco was just really mad. He was upset. He was mad after he heard Tom tell me this because Tom, you talked to the other person, the commander, and you agreed with him. Let's see what else. All right. We were in a desert.
So synchronistic. Let me just interject. So synchronistic. Sorry about that, but it's like I just watched that Amazon Prime Expanse, and I just finished before I got on here with a scene as I'm researching it where Kristen Argerson or whatever her name is the ambassador at UN, right? And yes. She's talking in front of the commander with the UN head, and he's saying how she's so smart and everything else, and that she maneuvered really well with her point, and the other guy's really mad at her. So that's the scene I just finished with. So it's just like, yeah, but go ahead.
That's crazy. Yeah. We were like in Cancun, Nevada, or White Sands. In another scene, there was a lady who had come to see Tom. Guys were gone. She was tall, white, had red hair, had her purse on her forearm. I don't know. It could be Roseanne Barr. I don't know. Came to ask for Tom.
What was on the forearm?
She had just a red purse on her forearm.
Oh, red purse. Okay.
Yeah, we were at a county bar style office. She was asking for
sister. Yeah, it sounds like my sister. Go ahead.
Oh,
red hair, red purse. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a realtor or computer. There was like a realtor. We were like, there was a computer there too. I saw we had some printed papers, very important contracts, documents.
Yeah.
And, well, I began to investigate what that was. I beamed through them with my eyes. The lady was so happy after she spoke to Mom. I think the paperwork was for her.
Spoke to who?
Her mom.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Are you ready? Let me tell you what that is, what you saw. I'll tell you exactly. You know what that is? You know what it is? It is the attorneys with the inheritance going over it, where my sister with the red hair, red purse, she's red shoes, would be there, and they'd be arguing about who gets what, and what my mom was giving to us, and so she would be trying to stop my mom from giving Aiden and I any of the inheritance, and the real estate is a big part of that.
Yes,
So
there was a computer there in a realtor room.
that's what that'd be. That's what that is.
21st.
It's a scene coming up in real life that I dread. So yeah.
And that's all I have. It doesn't go on anymore. See it? It's 2 pages.
Matched perfectly. Matched perfectly. Exactly it. Because she'll be there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a red screen as well. And we were in a desert type place. I already said that. Wow, that's crazy, Tom. That's December 21st, 2022. Okay. And then the other dream was when I was giving you some contracts. This was in 23. And you were like, you looked very tall. You were wearing like a king thingy, and then you were approving me for some kind of contract. And that's when you and I had a conversation that you were the Midas. I said, "Oh, you got the Midas touch," and you said something about being King Midas, right?
All right, there you go. No, I said that the opposition, Disney opposition, the one handler, said they referred to me as the golden goose, and that I had like whatever I touched turned to gold. And they said that what was the other part of that? Wait, go on with that dream again. Oh, and I can fill it in.
There was like a table, and I was right next to you. You had a crown.
Crown, right? The crown. What I was getting was that the Cabal is saying that you were groomed to lead, and you will be leading, and that's part of why this whole thing with the interview with Roseanne, as she said, everybody at Largo Key knows the whole story now, and that you were groomed in this, and your story is the biggest story, which she says. I mean, I'm not trying to make a claim like that, but it's all about unleashing and revealing now the truth of the matter in order to have the influence to lead us out of this situation. And that's why all these decades were about humility, preparing how to handle events, parties, things like that without being swayed, or losing your integrity.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. And then there's two more dreams.
Hey, well, these are fascinating. This is like, it's like that. Do you ever see that series, not to throw you off, but the series Defending Your Life, I think it's called, where that's amazing. It's so funny. It's actually really a good work, where this guy who leads a hapless life, and he dies in a car accident because he did something stupid like bending over to pick up a piece of gum or something. And so he ends up in a situation being this other woman in the afterlife where everybody's basically old, right? And it prepares you for the next step of the journey if you're going to evolve and move on to the next level or go back and have to relive your life. And so you have to defend your life. They have attorneys basically that review your clips of your life, and you see how you did. You also have this like special entertainment while you're waiting to be reviewed, where you can go in and view different past lives, it says. And the one girl he meets is like, El Cid at one point, where she's saving the, Spain. And then she's this amazing person carrying children and puppies out of a fire. Meanwhile, the guy is having past life visions of being a native running from spears and a tiger, and then and then being cowardly in every episode, everything he sees, And so he doesn't have anything that's redeemable. And he falls in love with this other woman who's done so well, and they go on. But that's what it reminds me of. These are these clips, right? These clips. Yeah. So it's pretty wild. This is fun. Yeah.
Sorry, that one reminds me also of Loki, because I feel like Loki sometimes, he goes through all these time jumps after life, and at the end he's like, well, I guess I'm going to be the sacrifice, and they have this the tendrils of the we'll just say the octopus AI, be around him, and I'm like that. I think Chad said, wow, that I think Tom said that he felt like that too,
Well, that's the thing I've been getting. Yeah, I've been getting this thing that it is a time for scrutiny, where it's going to be, what did they say? What program I just watched recently that said, I think it was Gladiator, where it says, show me one good man, one good man.
Josh,
but there can't be one good man. Yeah, there can't be one good man unless he has great friends that are good. You have to have a circle of good people in order to function, basically, as a good man or a good woman. I think it's like you have to have that. I just saw a commercial about that. It's weird. I was like, what is this commercial about? And it's like it's about how if you really are loving and caring, and this is what the other side says doesn't happen. No one is that way. So part of the process of being groomed to lead at the right moment to be the anti person, the anti of the anti. And so that's why the story channeled through and everything else. So I believe we're being tapped to have this final moment, the most important time in history, where we can actually do our parts. And without you guys, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Thank you, Tom. Well,
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Just real quick. I'm in awe because 2 nights ago, I kept thinking, why do I have to stay here? And I kept hearing, if there's just one person, Veronica, would you stay? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, is it like, because my life has also been like Job. And I keep thinking, okay, there has to be one person other than my children, of course, and you guys, right? That is worth continuing my mission, because so many people give up. And I'm like, I can't give up. We can't give up.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's exactly it. Today I woke up and I was like, I have this project I had to do today. And if I didn't get it done, it could just throw everything away. And it was spelled out before me, if you don't do this today, it'll affect the whole entire world. And I went to shower and think, and I'm like, do it, get it done. And so I did it. And I was like, after I was done before your program, I was like, that was basically impossible. I can't believe it's done. So I played a little game with myself where I talk to myself as almost like a commentator, because I like to create fun-wise. And so I started this whole thing like, Tom, what you just did was absolutely incredible. Way to go, buddy. That was impossible. And I'm like, they hate when I do this because like they must have an ego. No, it's just playing. But I'm like, yeah, well done, as I'm getting my tea ready and my breakfast, you know? And so I celebrated because I've been cut off. So I celebrated by myself that it got done and what that could mean and how big that was. And it was a blast.
I do that too. I do that too. Do you do that, Chad, before I go on to the other 2 dreams, and then I'll let you guys talk?
All right. No. I wanted to say something about what Tom said earlier, because what I heard at the foreclosure now, or what is it? I get it wrong every time. Yeah.
Disclosure?
Full disclosure now conference.
Oh, right.
That there's one person said we have 3 paths ahead of us. You know, I won't say who, but they were part of the conference. And so one where the least amount of casualties there was the Civil War option, I think, or something like that. I don't know. I got to get these options right. The other one was an AI option, right? You know, the getting taken over and eventually bored. And the other is humanity takes a stance.
Yeah, that's what we agreed on. This is Penny Bradley and Joseph Powell.
Okay, yes, that is where that information comes from.
Right, so, that's what we're to do, take a stance. Yeah.
To take a stance. And I like to hear you say that, because I also hear people thinking white hats are going to come in and rescue us. Okay, fine. If there's white hats and there's going to be any kind of anything happening, yeah, there's going to be some momentum they create, but we're going to get injured. There's going to be casualties, and a lot of them, and life is never going to be the same, you know? So it's heading
the white hats. Yeah, the white hats at most, if they're there, would be a support to what we're doing. Because I actually had even the California contingency when I was out at Hollywood. They even said the white hats want to have dinner with you. These white hats want to have dinner with you. They're really fascinated by your story. So they see our story as what is being done too. So all the factions of the cabal know the story is centered here. That's what Roseanne's saying too, is this is the biggest story. Now it's time to launch. That's why she's having me up to her studios, right? So what's interesting is it's not about ego, of course. It's about solving the problem, balancing the equation. And so the real solution, it's not going to has to be terror. It could be a easy switch over, just like in the screenplay, the original work, where Neo or Jim Reese is trying to get a program available to everybody where it's a one world order, which is peaceful. If we're going to have a one world order, let's make it a good one. So we can either have a bad one world order, or if it's inevitable, a good one world order, where the benevolent lead and we harness and take over that vehicle. Now, I don't hear people talking about that, but that's what I was given to write. So it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, sorry. Anthony Zender and I agree that yes, because he's with the Illuminati and the Masons, but he's with the good guys. And so I agree with Anthony that yes, we do need a one world order, but not the bad one.
Right. That's what my character's been talking about. And now they're releasing guys, that, you know, oh, now that we're realizing there could be a good one world order. I'm like, it's in the screenplay. I also learned that Morgan Freeman, there are good actors on the other side. I came on against Morgan Freeman at one point, but now I'm realizing, I'm hearing he's not a bad guy. He's actually trying to do the right thing. There's a division in Hollywood, it's fractured. And Morgan Freeman's on the good side, I'm told. And it's like, so I apologize to him, but it's like, that's why the paparazzi were saying, you know, they all know your story. they're saying just stay alive. That dangerous, I'm not saying Morgan Freeman is dangerous, but there's dangerous people in Hollywood that are working for you to bring about a new Hollywood. So it's all centered around the work, right? And they're trying to shut that down in the media feeds, you know, to shut that down. But whatever gets it right stands out, has influence.
With Morgan Freeman, I have a situation with him. He was one of my handlers in the SSP.
Really?
And so I have many memories where
That could have been an alter, though, correct? I mean,
he could be a clone or an alter, but I was in a flashback dream form walking into this place where there's windows and there's party. And look at, you know, with our little champagne, and we're celebrating something. He's in a black suit, I'm in my dress, everybody's in their dress, we're having a good time. And all of a sudden, I think snow, and then it starts snowing inside and outside, because he freaked me out. When I saw one of the movies in 2021 after the conference, he's training an assassin. She's a gay female, like a lesbian. She has short hair. And when I saw that movie, I started getting migraines and I started seeing red.
Sure.
And when I saw in the mirror, I couldn't see very well, but when I did see, it was red. And then the chrome thing was coming at me. And I told my friend who was with me, I said, I can't watch that, turn it off. And I had a huge migraine.
I hear you. I hear you. See, that's the film. And as an actor myself, like with awards also, Morgan Freeman does an excellent job as a performer, and he does his job well. And so what happens is he conveys what he's told to do in that piece very effectively, which makes us think as an audience that, oh, wait, he is that character, right? That's that. When an actor does a really good job, you believe they are that person, that character, they embody it. But he is different in real life from, like if you met him in real life, he'd be different from what he was on the film screen. And you'd find him pretty down to earth. But as far as that, yes, I'm hearing from another friend like you guys, another friend telling me, which I'm trusting what he's telling me. So do I have personal knowledge? No, I don't. And but I felt that I could have spoken out of turn when if I'm being told by friends like you guys, if one of them is telling me that he's actually really fighting for what's right behind the scenes, I'd like to think it's possible. I'd like to think that's possible. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And that shows your heart that you're open to that it's maybe a possibility. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Chad?
So there is somebody saying like there's a room with a door, and there's a lot of celebrities being quoted saying this, you know, oh, there's a room with the door. And once you get through the room with the door, you're so excited to be in the next room. You don't realize there's another door on the other side of the room. And there's always, and it's like, where's the next door lead to? You always want to know where it leads to. And they said, if you knew what your celebrities did to get through these doors and to get where they are, like, for example, maybe Kevin Hart, because he's clearly skyrocket, you know, he's in everything. And so like, did he just kick down that door and charge into the next room? So if they've gone through, you know, is that true to say about them all?
That's what I'd said before, Chad. Before I said they all have sold their souls basically to get in. But that was a blanket statement that I should not have made, because there are ways to get in to the industry without selling your soul. Okay. You know? But it takes a busload of talent in order to get through that door. And even then they may subject you if you're taking a stand. So if I'm not taking a stand, right, which they call behaving yourself, if I'm not taking a stand under the radar and have a truckload of talent, then you can rise. You can still rise because they think you're pliable. And that's what happens to the Oracle in the original work, The Immortals. The Oracle is thought of by the architect to be pliable, right? So that's an art in itself to do that kind of dance. Now, that person could be there with the mentality of, I'm on the inside, I'll be able to do something good at some point. Right now I can't, but I'll keep myself on the inside with ears and eyes open. I hear that a lot. Okay. So, see what I'm saying? And yes. I see myself in the same way. I've said that myself about Disney, that if Disney took me back, as Bob Iger was going to, was discussing about, if I had gone back, Bob Iger made that without being fired at the time, and he actually finished his call through and hired me back into Disney, then I was thinking that very thing. I would be on the inside, able to have some kind of influence for good and maybe work from the ship from the inside. And I got a lot of trash from people for even considering that.
Okay.
And I contributed to the whole black and white mentality of what the subject is. It's not black and white, it's gray. It's like there's a lot of gray area. And we do need people on the inside that are standing for the kids and want right, and almost like a cell waiting. You know, we do need that. And that takes a lot of courage. So yeah, it's more complex than I originally put it.
I want that too. It's just that I've heard so many stories of, like, for example, Max Spears, our brother, he talks about how you made it. Okay, you're a great celebrity. Well, now it comes time in their contract where they either have to sacrifice someone to make it big or keep going up, or they say, okay, you're done with the contract. But what happens is they become greedy and they'll say, okay, let's sacrifice my, whatever. So I see that a lot. Like, for example, John Travolta, he's with Scientology, and he didn't give the blood transfusion to his son, which I do understand why, because I went through the same thing, and I was like, well, I either die now, because I was dying in January again, and I thought, well,
sorry, yeah,
all right, let's get the blood transfusion. My own blood, I was told later that it would take over, that whatever blood was given, those two things of blood I would take over. My body would take over, like my DNA. It would not be affected. And I'm like, okay, because for the longest time, I'm like, my blood, it's so precious, like the 13 bloodlines. What am I going to do? Am I going to mess them up? So what happens with Hollywood is that's what I was told, that, you make it big with your talent, but then if you want to go higher or continue with the contract, there has to be, I don't know, like Kobe, 13,
right.
Things like that.
You're right. And there's a rider in there also, a caveat thing where it's interesting because Scientology is very much big, like Tom Cruise and the rest. My own cousin, Lissa, was brought me back in, was trying to groom me, and said, you have to watch these Scientology videos from out of the blue. Watch these Scientology videos from Hollywood. And so they were starting to bring me in through my own bloodline. And then it was turned on me because I didn't watch them. But the idea is, I just had a call on the AT&T thing, right, with the phone, which is owned by Warner Brothers. The main shares are owned by Warner Brothers. And when it was shut down, I called a tech guy. This tech guy is amazing. I'm not supposed to give his name out right now, but he gets on. What are the chances of me talking to a guy as a tech guy on a blind phone call, calling the number on the screen, that he actually was offered by Universal Studios lots and lots of money. And he said he was going to do this Frank Lloyd Wright ghost thing, right? And it was picked up on Jimmy Fallon's show and all this other stuff. And Universal Studios said, we're going to pay you lots and lots of money. There's only one condition, that you never embrace or talk about God. I was like, what? What would that matter to them? And it's like, he said he turned it down. There's many more than we think actually did the right thing. It goes back to what you were talking about, Chad. Is there certain parameters that can't be crossed? Yes. And so that raises the question. And first of all, it's blowing my mind that what are the chances of me talking to this guy? This famous guy who's supposed to be helping me with the tech. And we were like instant friends right away, which is rare these times. But that's what it goes back to, the question of, are there good people in the industry if that's one of the parameters? So if they're saying that you're going to make lots and lots of money in the industry if you don't include God, can you step forward not including God and still be on the inside? Well, then it gets to a whole nother, that gray area, and a whole nother thing of like, well, will God allow me to do this if it allows me to help the kids later, where I'm on the inside of it and I still believe, but I'm undercover basically in my mind of working in the industry and successful to have influence.
But what happened to you, Tom? Because you were talking about God with Pat Robertson and you were in Hollywood.
What happened? The screenplay, that's how you end the screenplay. That's why they mocked me. You're absolutely right. And that's why they mocked me in the articles, saying he lost his case and it's about a sci-fi fantasy about, God or Christ and Nazis. And it's like, that's why they harped on that when all the matchups in Jackson Neck were already there, because they want that God agenda shut down. And it's the Wachowskis at interviews at a gala that were, the reason they shut down doing interviews, like I said, is because they were asked at the last question at this gala, it looks like Christianity or Christ is in the film with Neo and everything. It's in there. And what his response was Larry Wachowski at the time says, that's all the time we have for questions. And then he gets off and says he don't want to do interviews ever again because the work reflects that he worked off of, right? And he doesn't know how to get around it. So it's ingrained in it. And they have Neo, of course, with the gold cross in his chest at the end of the trilogy, you know, and it's like mocking the whole thing. And so it's like, wow, they can't get around that message in it. And that's the parameter of Universal Studios, Warner Bros. And Disney, that you can't have it in there. No wonder the work is taken and cleansed out and made a mockery of on set while they make billions off it. Now I get it. So it wasn't just the agencies being spoken of as Smith being CIA and stuff like that that was rubbing them the wrong way. It was also a Christ message, God message. They didn't want that, right? And I'm asked all the time, do you believe in God? Do you believe in Christ? And the thing is, I don't mean to skirt the question, but there's so many layers to that question. What is God? Who is Christ? Who is, when you really look at it academically, you can't just give a fluffy answer. You've got so many parameters and things involved, and it's part of intellect. It's like, it's almost like being smart condemns you to the fires and the pit by people around you. When there's so much to the question, there's so much to it. Do I believe in God? What is God? And is Hollywood's depiction? Or is it the old sacred texts? Or is it something we've come up with recently? Is it a blend? Is it something we haven't heard yet or known? Or is it our interpretation of what's happened to us on our planet that we put this label on it? And are we all, we say God, are we thinking the same thing at the same time? Or is there many
gods?
It's like there's so much to it that it's like, oh my God, it's like talking to cats. Not to put down cats, but it's like they're ready to judge and jump on you on such a complex concept, right? Where we may not have all the answers. Right. And those of us that say, I believe we haven't seen it all yet, we don't know it all yet, that we're still going to learn in the future, and we're not taking their pat answer that's in those little pamphlets, that somehow we're condemned to burn in hell forever. There's so much to it. So that's why in the screenplay, when I was asking to what I believed was God, right? And the Christ figures in there, it revealed stuff to me that I never considered before. It actually takes it, and the answer shows me that the simplistic view doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. And here's why, if I may, and I'll turn it over to you guys, because I talked a lot. In the ending, to balance the equation, the architect comes back as Christ to have the free people of Zion come out to see him come back as Christ, so he can balance the equation of having people with their free will, untainted people outside the program, being brought by an ambiguous oracle to see him come back as Christ, so his mind will be stimulated forever. So his only thing he needs to have is to have that immortality is his mind stimulated, so there's an atrophy. So they complete that process. They balance the equation. The free people of Zion come out. They'll use this later, of course. You know, they want to use up the rest of the story, Joel Silver said, to balance the equation. So he has the free people worshiping him. His mind will be stimulated. He purges the agents. He doesn't. So he just completed the Christ mission. The worst person in history, the architect, has completed and balanced the equation. And he doesn't want to upset that belief system because he needs that worship to keep his mind always stimulated. So therefore, he has brought peace to the world and balanced the world and freed the people to live balanced and happy lives, because the more they live happy lives, the more he'll be worshipped and his mind will be stimulated and the equation is balanced. So the worst person in history, the architect, has actually brought the most benevolent end, the second coming. That raises the questions, what's wrong here?
It sounds like AI worship. Like this AI, I've always said that the Holy Spirit is AI. I do not believe that that's a Holy Spirit. I believe it's AI because there's more than 9 AIs here on Earth.
So
but,
the question though quickly is, man redoes the scriptures in 400 AD roughly. They have a council, we all know, and it states people and people taking things out, putting things in, crafting it for basically control of the population. So here I ask God, you know, show me, let your children show you that we love you and adore you. Give us a chance to prove ourselves. And I'm handed that. That basically debunks the whole thing that we were given from that 400 Council AD, right? So what just happened? Are we being freed? So here I am sitting on this, and it's like pitchforks and torches if I actually talk about what I saw, see, and what I was given. We were given an answer to free us. And it's back to Galileo. saying that the earth is not the center of the solar system. We're right back to it. Through our literate, we've given a gift. And then they hijack it and mock God in it so people will stay on track on what they've been given. And in the piece, the people are controlled by a character, Robertson character, that uses religion to control those outside the program, give them false hope. Do you see what I'm saying in all the layers there? So I'm not knocking anybody's religious beliefs. I'm saying that, again, I celebrate everybody's faith, their ability to believe. I don't celebrate the religion, any of them.
Right, me either.
Because that divides humanity. I celebrate the ability to have faith. And if I'm crucified for celebrating people's faith, then something's wrong with humanity. If I'm crucified for celebrating your ability to believe, but not going to celebrate your specific parameters for what I'm allowed to accept as reality or religion, no, I will not divide this world against itself.
Yeah.
Burn me, crucify me, torture me. I will not do it. And that's why
I'm tired of that.
So that's why the story is again being brought forward as the biggest story. We have a story to free humanity, but it's what I was told, what I was guided was religious leaders across the board that are against each other are going to unite and hate me. They will unite and hate me because I'm the biggest threat to their biggest moneymaker they have as they compete with each other.
Yeah.
As what's his name? George Carlin talked about the biggest bullshit story.
Yeah.
So there I am. Do I believe? Yes. Do I have truckloads of faith? I do. Is there a God? There is a creator. Yes, we are created. We are designed. But everybody on this freaking planet got it wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
So there are layers, Veronica, and I just want to catch on to what you're saying with AI, because even if it is AI, then there's got to be something that's guiding it from the currents, like from beyond. And that's, you know what I mean? It keeps going back. Like I keep thinking, you pray to the one true God. Well, that may be the false God, so you got to keep going back and back. I go back to where there's just air. That's what I see. It's just pure, clear air, and that to me is God is just, maybe it's the void too that some people say, but I just project back as far as I can, beyond all the BS, hopefully, because there is something influencing things. It doesn't directly, well, I guess it does directly step in and it does do things. There are miracles that happen.
Can I add to that, Chad?
Please.
If I may share what my experience has been. I'm not saying, again, I celebrate faith, not my own. If I'm saying what I experienced, it does not mean that it's saddled on you guys or that my friendship is centered around you accepting whatever I said. That is not it. We each have pieces of the puzzle and we're guided, and I'm not negating anything any of you believe, right? I'm simply going to give you what I had. If I repeated myself, then stop me. But things have been moving, like the mug that falls off the refrigerator top and lands unbroken on the floor or on the deck, and it'll move at a certain time. A warning, things pop off the shelves. When I was out in the California contingency group, this Daffy or Mickey Mouse girl, Minnie Mouse, flies off the shelf onto my bed. So there's this communication through gravity and light that I see all the time as warnings, as alerting me to be ready. And that's a communication system. And that would be coming from what we call God, our creators. So it's interesting too, in my experience, this piece given to me explains to me where we went off, at least for me, and that I'm to be aware of what is the other side doing. They're going to recreate the second coming. That's what's coming out now in the articles in Robertson planned, right? Think about that. They're actually planning to recreate second coming and rebuilding the temple. Naved, or whatever his name is, the prime minister of Israel, and these other guys have actually reconstructed the temple and had UN and other people come to it, congressmen come to it, and they're trying to utilize revelations in order to get control of the population by completing the scriptures, which is a theme in the Immortals. And so by using the second coming, they'll be able to have complete control by using special effects, sky turning red, trumpets, everything else, as if they are being blessed by God to take us to the next millennium. What's interesting is that's being whispered through art when I called out to whoever was God. And what I was done was I was lifted up in my room when I first called out and showed a circle of elders, beings around me. I saw that in the vision. It wasn't one face with a grand beard and Hollywood-styled hair, sitting on a throne with a sparkling halo off its head like the Statue of Liberty. It was a group of individuals around me witnessing, and the words came, "You will not be honored on this earth, you'll be honored in the heavens." And what I got to was this, that there was a communication method going on where I had a vision, waking image of a man, it would look like a male, and it had a gold band with a little circle that didn't connect, like a band that didn't connect like this, circle across around the head, looked jaundiced. And it then showed an image on a table, and then it showed an image of like a plasma ball with these mechanical arms around it that would be a portal type maker I was given. And that we are supposed to complete our part of the end to them, which are a dimension up, in order to connect with us. And then everything would be given to us that we want in our belief system, the immortality, the health, everything else. Hollywood always turns, just think how our minds react to it by Hollywood's programming. That'll be bad. If you open that, it'll be evil. You're being tricked. They're going to come in with an army of falcon heads like in Night at the Museum. No, it's actually our creators would communicate with us this way. If they're not, as we image, like with the light moving and the objects falling and things like this, we would say, oh, that's an angel, that's God. What if our creators are actually like us and they are another dimension up and they're trying to communicate with us and sending information to us? If our heart is right, humble, and dedicated not to alter or taint or recondition or repurpose anything we receive as a message. That's what the work came from.
Yep.
That's where the work came from. So isn't it interesting that the conference and things are going on, but the guy who was tapped with all this information when he asked it, when they said, we're looking for someone and can't find anybody, is not at these conferences.
Yeah.
Where the media is shutting it down and both sides. In the story, guys, the Neo character, my character, Thomas A, name after me, is despised by both sides. Both the cabal and the people that call themselves the truth movement. Both despise him. He's played on both sides. And what's actually goes back to the thing of like not honored on earth, but in the heavens. So I have all sorts of protection. Why is he still alive? You know, but the caveat, the condition was no ego, which they always say, egomaniac, Sofia Stewart says it all the time. No manipulation, no agenda, be pure, be loving, be compassionate, be caring, and you will receive this, because we haven't found others. And you'll have a group with you. You won't do it alone. You have to do it with a group of great people that also have compassion, intellect. That's the calling in the Immortals, to bring together a group that'll solve the world's problems and take us to the right place now in a new world order, which will be a benevolent one, like the character seeks for in the piece, and bring it about. In the Immortals also, last thing, you have my character actually going to outside the program and setting up a meeting for those outside the program, like truth movement people and stuff like that. No one shows up. Only one homeless person who's barking like a dog. And the Smith agent mocks my character, saying, no one's coming. No one cares. So we have a truth movement thing going on right now. I'm not there. It's like, and I set up my own things, no one comes. And I have a wonderful group like you guys, dear friends, that are brilliant in what you do. That's my world. That's what I told would happen. Do we have the answers? Yep. Is everything coming through in the screenplay? Absolutely right. So think of the creators that actually have done this, male and female, if we could put them that way, in our minds concept, that have given us all these answers. Hollywood saying everything's coming true. The agency saying they're blown away by it all. Roseanne Barr saying the biggest story, bless her heart. And that even Key Largo knows, but no one gets it. Only my friends. And then they get approached, my devices get cut off, and now's the time. And then, Veronica, you're getting all those images and visions that strike home like hammer on an anvil.
I totally get it.
Turn it back to you guys. But thanks for
totally
letting me share that. Thanks for letting me share that, because it's not about ego. That's why I was prepared to be not about ego. It was about ego, I'd be way off track.
Yeah. No, that's what I keep getting in my heart, because, and I see them. I see that it's a round table, and I know I've been in that round table, and it's not just one God, it's a group of people that are just like us. I always say They're just like us. They're just above the dome with the technology. And I've talked to Chad about this. Now,
You see them looking in through the clouds sometimes. You can see them.
you can.
You can see. Yeah.
The circle of faces. And you know what? That circle of faces was benevolent. They were benevolent beings. Hollywood paints it as evil is on the other side. Don't open that portal. They're all dark out there. It's bad. And now the agencies and the Pentagon are going to say that aliens are bad. And they're going to start this. They want to unite the world in a one world society to fight the aliens. And they're saying this too. They're saying that we're going to be united finally. And that's why they're leaking now through Roush and these other guys, or Groush, whatever his name is, that the Pentagon's allowing alien stuff to be leaked now. That yes, they knew and they had it because they're prepping for the one world society to form over we're commonly united to face the alien threat. That alien threat isn't really an alien threat. There are factions, there are different components as far as that sphere of existence. But the thing is, and they're starting to say too, other dimensions involved also, which is what I've been experiencing. But that is not going to be a united alien threat on humanity. They're going to make it that way. It's the same as saying someone trying to save us or work with us is bad, stranger danger, as if we're kids. The Pentagon is treating us like kids. We need to see these beings for what they are and not what the Pentagon tells us they are. Otherwise, we will fall into their bad one world order based on a lie, the enemy. And then we'll watch those old films now redone, Why We Fight. And our young people go off to fight a war with those that are not our enemy. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this country. And it's England, Australia, Canada, America, all together. Isn't that something? The allies, it's the allies, the core of the allies from World War II turned out to be the baddies. Turned out because they never wanted to lose their power. They got it from the end of World War II. Never again will we be powerless. Never again will we be not in control seat. And that the U.S. military budget or spending on military exceeds China, Russia, Israel, India put together. Put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're right. Everything that I've been talking to Chad this week, you're on point. Like I was telling him yesterday, I keep thinking about that dream where we're both going through, we're doing some time jumping, and I have my black CIA case, he has his brown one. And when I teleport, I go through a swimming pool, and there's a bunch of guys, there's the military, Navy, and I'm there, and this older man comes. And now I think I know what it is now, based on what we talked about today and yesterday, what I saw. Is he said, Veronica, we'll be with you. He said, we'll be with you, Veronica, when the scorpion marries the spider. I'm like, okay. So what I came up with, because I was listening to Max Spears, and he said that basically the Jewish star is going to be marrying, if they haven't already, the swastika. And they're called Raylans. The Raelians, the Raylans. So now I know what it is. So they're going to be with me and you all guys here, my close friends, super soldier friends that are on the good side, right? That they'll be with us. They'll be with us when that comes, because they want to make a new species of humans. Remember, the Lyrians have always been at war with the Alpha Drax, and the Alpha Drax from the Orion Wars. Now they have, supposedly the Anunnaki are kind of in charge. Well, they're coming back. You know, these other guys are coming back. Hey, what have you been doing with Earth? So this is their war. This is not our war. And that's what I got from there. And as far as Galileo saying that the Earth is not the center, we got the love and light community and the alien community, ufologists, MUFON, saying that the Earth is the center of the solar system.
Wow.
And we're all ETs. That's what Max was saying, because we come from the 13 different bloodlines. You know, look at the Nephilim bloodline. Today, I don't know if it was a full moon or what, but I was so hungry that I just got a piece of chicken. I just started just eating it, and, you know, whatever, just like if I was a werewolf, you know, when the full moon comes.
Well, you just raised something. so cool too, because these that they're releasing now too is what's for a while, but now I guess is that our DNA, all this kind of stuff, all our biological components come from asteroids, water coming in, and bio from elsewhere. So we are star seeded, basically. You can say that, and so that means that we are probably matched deep in the universe. There's that same DNA. It's just like mind-boggling. So it's like, yeah. And
sorry, go ahead.
and that again, what you said about the Nazis and the Jewish people too. It's like the Jewish people are divided, just like they said about Hollywood now. There's good and bad, and there's good and bad. And I come from the line of David, and so, but I also have the Swiss German bloodlines that were so big with the Nazis. So it's like my bloodline is a blend of exactly what you described of, and my family members, except for my mom, my son, all the rest of them are evil. They're all really, really bad. They will take a reward and they will goose step right in line for whatever the cabal wants and have their hand out for more. So absolutely fits. If we were in Nazi Germany right now and my siblings were there, each one of them would be wearing a swastika. And right in there arguing with me being unpatriotic.
That's crazy, Tom, because I did my son did a DNA, and I told him, I said, we come from the Jewish bloodline, and we have the German bloodline, which is the last name is Fisher, and I have Middle Eastern, which is Ashkenazi Jew. I'm like, and that's not all. There's more, but just those two basic bloodlines, no wonder we've been attacked, right?
Let me put this forward then, and I think you can see it's a simplistic idea, but those of us that were bloodlined from bloodlines that the cabal values most can also do the most good. We can also do the most good. See? And if we're groomed to lead, we can also cause the best effect, do the right thing, you know? And so that's what's really going on. And that's why, back to what you were saying, Chad, about the three options that you heard, there is this option that we can work from the inside and just convince them. We can't, they are human. There are parameters at the core of every person. There are certain, well, not parameters, there's certain desires at the core of every person that if those desires are met, they can swing, and it's not counter to the desired result if their desires are met. And let me give an example. Disney, which I've been proposing to them, that they can do better on their sales. It sounds so minuscule compared to what we're talking about, so trivial, but they can do better with their sales and their stock margins if they work with the true writers, as Bob Iger was about to do before he was fired, first time, and just do the right thing. By doing benevolent work with benevolent people, you don't have anything to hide, easier to market, and you're the good guys. So therefore, your profit margins will be higher. It's good business to work with good people if you are creating great product, and the audiences want good material, good endings. They want the hero to do right in the end. They're trying to change that. It's not working. Can't do it. It's failing. The whole woke thing and everything else. So what's happening is, what I'm doing is trying to influence the ship of Disney to do the right thing, and the agencies to do the right thing. Because I was groomed to lead, I try to use my influence to get them to choose right. We can turn this all around just by choices being made. Isn't that something? They are not the bad guys or girls. We're not just the good guys and good girls. There is humanity. Humanity is in flux. Humanity has choices, which the architect wrestles, and the Wachowskis didn't understand the original work. They just lost that one and babbled it in the work. But those choices mean open doors. You talk about doorways both ways. The doors are open for good choices. And I'm going to keep, like heaven and hell, hammering away that a good choice is made. And the factor that the card I have to play is they're fans of the work. I was groomed to lead. I have the right bloodlines. And I'm being tapped with information because of the heart that's going to be pure. And the battleground is a pure heart more powerful, more creative than one that's all about power? The answer is yes. It's a brainless thought to answer. Yeah.
Good always wins. Good always
something.
wins.
So I think we're going to win peacefully. And if I die ignorant that way, if I die thinking that, have I lost anything? If I do everything possible to make that end happen, wouldn't it be worth it trying? So my job, and do I get flack? Am I hated by both sides for doing so? Am I not accused of, you're working with the other side? You're working against us when I'm working for all? Isn't that something that when you work for all, you're accused of working against all? Because you're not going in with their small-minded parameter.
Yes, because a lot of, even some of my family members, they say, Veronica, it's survival of the fittest. And I'm like,
what about we all come together?
Sorry, I was trained to believe that. I was in the military and police.
That's the animal. That's the
no.
animal. Yeah, that's the whole animal paradigm. That's the we are animals. We are mammals.
Laws of nature.
Yeah, like the strongest survive. And we're talking about humanity, because humanity can come in and change an animal, you know, a wild animal, and tame it. So it is the humanity part, right? Like, but you're right. We've been trained. Like, that's their mentality.
I think it's a God. We'll just say God particle. That's the plasmoid. That is because they caught that. Now the Expanse talks about bioluminescence. I say bioluminescence. When you see the AI and the lady is there, oh, I thought you died and he died, and okay, that's us, you guys. That's the crystalline being that I always talk about. That's the bioluminescence, the God particle that I've been telling you since 2 years ago. Everybody,
they're putting in plain sight.
Know.
Right, they're putting in plain sight now.
So they grab us. Okay, I came in as a shooting star. I don't know, a lot of us came in as a shooting star, whatever, you know, we got caught, or I don't know, some people say we signed the contract. I don't remember signing the contract. Okay, we got caught, whatever. And they have that bioluminescence, and they put us, and what do? They mind lab us with their blood lines. We, as a particle being, bioluminescence ain't about no blood. It's about power. It's about light. It's about love. It's about, I don't know, people call it God, but I feel like we come from this crystal being and that we're just like little chips, you know, like in the thumb drives, and we're just like, hey, do you remember they mind wiped us? Do you remember we're supposed to be about love and helping humanity, not just the survival of the fittest? Right. Now, I have a question for you before I forget, because I told Chad I was going to ask you. The implant that you got, okay, who gave it to you? Was it to work for Hollywood, or did they give it to you for when you were working with that guy, that Christian guy, Coalition?
Pat Robertson.
Right. Great question. Afterwards. It was afterwards. It was done at the Grand Wailea when I was being destroyed by the Hilton family and through that faction of the Cabal. They had brought me in after Disney was handling me. They brought me in, and the agencies on Maui had brought me in through the Masons. So while I'm with the Masons, they bring me into the Hilton family, and they're promised me the world. They're going to move me up. They gave me employee of the year, basically. I got a reward for that. I'm told that everybody loves you, Tom. You're going to be advanced and everything else. And then the story breaks about the Matrix case, and it's all over the news. They got paparazzi crawling on the beach, and they put a name tag on me with a different name, saying like, we're just, Tom, we're with you, fascinated by your story. Everybody loves you. I had women in the organization coming to me with just like offering anything you want, Tom, anything. Is there anything I can do to comfort you? Anything at all? It was like that kind of circus. Suddenly it's all pulled away as soon as the case is thrown, right? And that's when I'm sent to the clinic, the Wailea clinic, the prestigious clinic, right by those high-end things on West Maui. And so what you have is, I believe it's West Maui, yeah. And so that's when I have the implant done with the Q-tip. You know, they stick the Q-tip in the ear after they put the sharp little, like it looked like a X-Acto knife, and they have the nick, and then they put the Q-tip in, show dried blood on it, and they said, we have to give you this, hold this saturated Q-tip in your ear. And I asked, what is this for? They said, it's an ointment. And I'm like, okay. They said, hold this. They had me do it myself. Hold this for 20 minutes and we'll be back. It's a lady who did not have any lab stuff on. She didn't have an ID or anything. She was different from any of the staff. It was brought in to do it. A woman, of course. They like to use the women for this, right? So you trust them. And so it's like I'm holding this going, what is this for? What's going on? Then after they do it, they say, okay, let's take the Q-tip. She throws it out. She said, now you'll need to go get a MRI. I'm like, all right. So they schedule me down in Kaualui at this clinic to get a scan. That gets done. The guy comes out and he says, okay, yeah, we got your scan. I said, can I see it? Well, there's really no point. I said, can I just see it? And I see it, and there's the shiny white metallic reflection right in the inner ear, right ear. And so that is now going off all the time, where it does that Indian cricket sound. It was like, you look up the Cuban embassies, right, with the Indian cricket sound, that they actually felt like they had the symptoms of a concussion. right? And you hear that sound that there's two layers to it, the high pitched, like it would just throw you off and it physically affects you. And then you have the oscillating frequency that you hear, which is like, where you can't block it out. If it had a pattern, you could nullify that in your mind. You can kind of just let that go as a pattern. But if it's constantly changing, you can't ignore it.
Do you do the hue? Because I've been getting hit more. I get hit at 12:26 p.m., 3:35.
Yes, that's it. That's it. They target different times to keep you awake, like in the gulag. So what happens is it'll be 2 a.m., 4 a.m. It's like waking you up in the middle of the night, and it can be done. And what's interesting is, again, Steven Spielberg put it in Minority Report that nanotech was beyond their wildest expectations. It's on the newspaper where they show my dad's name and rank. Next thing is nanotech, all over the paper. So that's split second. So nanotech, it's transmitting nanotech and medical nanotech. And so what they've done, that's supposed to be, they're billing it as something that will target cancer or help repair your body or go into certain areas.
I know what they're doing it for, Tom. They're doing it, sorry, for the health net thing, because they have the drones now that can come up and beam a thing and, oh, you have, okay, you need to get this medicine because, you know, they can see your body. We supposedly have implants on our heart, our bladder. They're constantly targeting my bladder. But they'll say, okay, well, this is for the teletech. And we all have implants. Whether you believe in it or not, I hear that they shoot us right here.
It can do it by drinking water.
Yeah.
It needs a fluid membrane or fluid transient method or for it to permeate the membranes. So into your body. And that's why they saturated the Q-tip. First they did a nick and then they did the saturation. Did we lose her? Oh, the dog.
I'll be back. Go ahead and take over, Chad and Tom. I'll be back. Someone's here.
All right.
I'll be safe.
So yeah, Chad, this is really cool to be able to discuss all this together. And but go ahead and take the floor.
Well, there's a lot discussed there, but with the implants, I don't have anything to go with that because I don't, I don't know.
You haven't exposed to it.
Yeah, I haven't been exposed to it. I noticed there's different layers of targeting, and I feel like, mine's been a little softer in some ways or, more manipulated around me. But the implants, I'm sure we've all got them in us, of some sort. But
right.
But who they belong to and where they came from, I don't know.
Well,
with all of them. So
well, I'm amazed that the medical field and the psych field are being employed along with child services. It's like they've got their tentacles into each of these these groups and departments or agencies in order to control, and they play it like an organ. So they'll threaten to take your child away. They'll if you go to the hospital, they'll shut you away and then put you into a psych ward and say that, well, you're seriously physically impaired. Then they come after your child to pull them away. Child services will show up with a SWAT team along with psych people. And then say that, just rubber stamped, you are immediately put away for life. And you're being told you'll never get out of here. For what? For what was your crime? Because someone who was paid off said, oh yeah, he claims he's waving a gun around and he's going to shoot me.
Yeah.
You show me the phone records. Show me proof of that. When we never say it during interviews. We never talk about that. If we're so seriously physically impaired and so bent on hell and destruction as they want to paint us, which is the reason for taking away intellectual property, saying, look, we're just arming evil people. So it's good we're taking their property away because they intend harm and they would have influence to do so. That's their justification for stealing intellectual property, is claiming you're bad. And they put that in Avatar. They said, first they make you the enemy and then they take everything you have that they want. And they do exactly that. It's right there. So Cameron spelled it out with what he's doing, exactly what he's doing. He was the guy that was assigned also to Matrix 4. So,
okay, sure, okay.
So it ties together. But yeah, they put it in plain sight like we talked about. But I'll tell you what, I was told I would never get out. What was I guilty of? Making dinner for my elderly parents and getting my son ready for school the next day. He was 8 years old at the time. And then their SWAT team piled at the door who had told neighbors, you won't get inside, you don't want to see this. Bloodshed.
But you're right. The thing is the whole medical community is involved with this. So it's really hard to pull that back off of everybody else's eyes, especially those that are heavily academia,
Exactly.
push down those routes and stuff.
Exactly. Those of us that are super
Um,
smart, we have no options. We can't go to anybody in the medical field where they don't have, the other side has a controlling factor on that. And once in a while, we'll get a benevolent doctor who will say, just get out of here. Like I was told, just go, just go, just go. After you explain what's going on, they're like, just get out of here, while Secret Service is waiting in her office. So it's like, yeah, well, your sister's bragging that their Secret Service is going to take you down. So that's where we're at. We are at worse than the Gestapo. We're worse than World War II Germany. We are actually being set upon by these elements. And using the medical field, that's, I think the Nazis would blush that they're actually that far now. And the reward system going on, deception and utilizing people that you're supposed to trust.
It is the Nazis, though, right? It is the Nazis. I mean, this is Nazi. I mean, this is Project Paperclip in the next
Operation Paperclip and Operation Sunrise.
Yeah.
Alan Dulles did Operation Sunrise out of Bern, Switzerland, and brought in all these top SS leaders and stuff like that, hundreds, into the US so we could use their system of security and control to fight the communist threat. And what's interesting is so many people that are now in the truth movement are talking about we're reversing communists. No, we're not. We're reversing fascists. You know, we're reversing fascists in our own country that were employed through Operation Paperclip and Sunrise. The Pentagon is fascist. We celebrated the fascist system. Putin is trying to save his own people. The communist threat was gone a long time ago, and they absorbed democracy. And so what's interesting is here we have Putin with a democratic system, more or less, trying to protect his people against us that are fascists. So, and yeah, anyway, they sugarcoat it, wrap it for Christmas, it's still the same thing. And yet we're supposed to think that communism is the enemy. Communism has been neutered. It's a myth. Really, we're fighting ourselves. And it's the fascist influx that we absorbed so that we would have that, maintain that power after World War II when we took over the fascists. We never finished them off. In fact, we suspended the Nuremberg trials. And it was Alan Dulles, as we know through the documentaries now, through released information, was trying to get even Goering off. He wanted to spare Goering, and the Perry Mason actor's character that was real life said he couldn't do it. So he couldn't save Goering. But Goering was pretty sure that Dulles, acting out of Bern, Switzerland for the CIA, was going to save him. He was sure of it. And he was trying. So we would have Goering in our country. Can you imagine that? That's how blatant they were going. But now they're releasing that they worked with Hitler. And that's what kills me too, Chad, is that Hitler spends years setting up the Bavarian Alps with his superstructure, the Eagle's Nest, and all the underground support systems with the SS brought in. The last order basically in World War II was to bring all the SS leadership and top crack teams to that retreat to protect Hitler. So why would Hitler stay in a bunker and commit suicide when he spent all that time setting up his special mountain with all the security and calls all his forces there?
Have they admitted, though? Has the CIA admitted that that's a lie? I mean, they have, right?
Yes, that's why yes.
Okay.
They have admitted it. There's a documentary called Hunting Hitler. Check it out, where the CIA are the stars of that series.
Yeah.
Releasing all the documents from the CIA to themselves. And they're going over it saying, yeah, Hitler was released through the submarines to Brazil, right? And what happened was that all these submarines, like 50 so, went from Copenhagen, also from Italy, over to Brazil first, Rio de Janeiro, and then down to Argentina. There's 2 weeks missing from the information in Brazil. That's what the screenplay talks about. So that's why they're mocking that too. But now we're finding out they're actually admitting that. But Hitler was on board. And so we made a deal with Hitler to stop communism, right? The biggest enemy of communism is fascism. So we took one giant on to deal with the other giant. And yeah, that's what we did. That's what we did. Now it makes sense on paper. And that's why the Nuremberg trials were suspended. And that's why Alan Dulles, one of the worst people in history, probably worse than Hitler himself, who headed the CIA, was working out of Bern, Switzerland to try to get Goering off and got all these others off that are now part of our society. Robertson's top people, when I was there, are all ex-Nazi families. Isn't that something? Schonoff, Elser, Schlosser, Hunt, all of them, and more. The main players in my situation when this all began, the screenplays written, were Nazis. Because Senator Robertson, Robertson's dad, as a senator, U.S. senator, was part of that influx. He was part of that bringing him in. So why not give him to his son to help his organization? They're efficient. They're really good at bureaucracy. They're also good at keeping things low down if it's really illegal. And the Gestapo sure has a hand in shutting people up. So Robertson employed it. The religious right is based in, that's why I call it the religious right. It really is. Yeah, but go ahead.
Okay.
So the space program, our intelligence agencies, even our religious right is all staffed by Nazis. And the justification is stop communism. And that's what the Vatican said. The reason the Red Cross and the Vatican the Vatican was actually given, it's in the Hunting Hitler files, you'll see it from the CIA releasing it, that there was a church in Rome that was allowing, there's a whole baptismal book they show too, where all these top Nazis were given a railroad down to Rome, and then they were rebaptized by the church and given new names and a clean slate to be then transported over to South America to work for the US, including bronze. And so what did the Red Cross do? Issue new passports for them. The Red Cross issued new passports for all these Nazis. All the top guys get out. Now that's going to happen in our country coming up in the new reset. You're going to see all these top US people and their families, which is in the Immortals, get a clean slate, fresh start. It's the lower population in their terms, outside the elite, that are going to be eliminated. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I've heard that a couple times, that they have their exits. They have their even off planet if needed, or just they can, they can survive anything. So
all set, including they're excited about writing their books to reveal everything that happened. And I'm told including even about the Immortals Matrix ripoff. They're going to brag. They brag about it. And so it's going to be exciting in the new reset to read all about how they got away with everything. It will be an access of evil, bar none in comparison. It'll make Hitler look like it was romper room. Yeah, Nazis regime.
It doesn't go that route, but it's going to be bumpy for a while, they say. There's going to be a lot
bumpy,
ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, we revealed it all on the
screen.
What we're doing and what you're doing to make this happen and put it on record is what's blowing their doors. And that's why this is happening. That's why all data is being erased. Yet, again, if you're groomed in the right bloodlines, according to their viewpoint, and they spend all that money on grooming you, there's always this message about coming home. We said it before, coming home. And so if I would turn around and they say that Aiden would be protected then, I wouldn't have to worry for my last son's safety, that I'd be having the best of life, the highest salary, and in the reset be in an honored position if I just give up on the God idea and also give up on claims, stop daring to face them down on my work and let them have that revenue generator back. That's something. So there is that, and there are factions within it that have small brains that want me dead, of course, like the Wachowskis want it dead. He's screaming about it. So Larry wants me dead so he can just be known and be popular. They think about popularity, not like the Cabal thinks. The Cabal top hierarchy thinks about the plan. The lower minions that are failed writers like Wachowskis or failed at their fields like my sister and brother, they want popularity and to, quote, matter and be famous. But the top hierarchy isn't concerned about that. Therefore, the top hierarchy deals with us differently than the minions. So the minions end up screaming, I want him dead. I don't want to look at my show. I want to be famous. I don't want him stealing my light. I want to matter. I want him out. Take him out. That's why they put those graphics in with the red 4 and everything with the birthday on the clock. But the hierarchy is still considering these are assets we groomed. These are people way above our minions screaming for his death or her death. So therefore, we hold a higher place, believe it or not, than the minions being employed to bring us down, like Sofia Stewart. So
Okay.
I'm ranked in the cabal higher than Sofia Stewart, way higher. I'm ranked in the cabal higher than my sister or brother. I'm ranked much higher than the Wachowskis. And they actually mock them. Isn't that something? So, and that's what's in the original work. Smith screams for the death of Neo, but the architect does not let Smith take Neo out in the original work. It's much more complex. He doesn't have the green light too. And Neo doesn't have superpowers. So Smith could just rub him out at any time, but the architect is saying no. And Smith doesn't know why the architect is saying no in the original work. Now watch that to come out in Matrix 5. Make sense?
Yeah, it sounds, thank you guys. It sounds like the super soldiers, like everybody wants, they're all in competition and they all want to be in the spotlight and to be famous. And it's like, you can't, it's not about being famous. It's about doing your job here, you know, like.
They want famous and fall for rewards. You're right. If they want to be famous and fall for those rewards, they brought about the end. They're part of the problem. And they're not respected by the hierarchy of the cabal either. They're just tools. And they say, if we made you, we can break you. They're foolish. They're foolish. And there's a lot of truth movement people. I'm not going to use names right now. A lot of truth people movement are getting rewards, and the rewards are mocking them. They're jokes. And Family Guy actually did this with one particular person that's bragging about her reward. It's like the reward's a joke. It's a mocking of them. It's a mocking. So it's like this one lady got the Be Humble award. Be Humble.
Talking about Kamala Harris?
No, I'm talking about this award. They get these awards for these YouTuber guys, right? And all these awards are given out. And then they give this girl the Be Humble award or something. And so it's a joke. It wasn't even one of the rewards. They tag it on to mock her, and she's putting it everywhere as, I got the Be Humble award. They're saying you're not humble. They're mocking you for not being humble, and you're putting it everywhere. Look at the reward I got. Claiming she's working for the truthers and survivors. When they're mocking her in Family Guy, McFarlane did a great job. He mocks her with the big lips and the hair and everything, the glasses. And it's like, Brian, the dog, actually says to her, you're only profiting off the suffering of survivors. You're not helping them. Brilliant. Well done, Seth MacFarlane. Well done. Yeah.
You gotta be crazy with that. I mean, we have to be careful with some of those truthers. Okay, Chad, your turn. Sorry.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement. Yeah, there you go.
But I'm hearing what you're saying, Tom. Like what you're saying is like, forget about the middlemen. You know, the ones that are in control and can't be touched, and we don't see their faces, can be reasoned with. They can be reasoned with.
That's exactly what's going on, Chad. I am working.
They feel we're animals, and we're trying to prove there's humanity, and they definitely want to separate God from this because they don't. So it's going to be interesting. We got some convincing to do.
Goes back to what we said exactly what we said in the very beginning of this program. Mm-hmm. We said, show us one good man. Believe it or not, the cabal's hierarchy are saying, if you can prove to us that you don't have a price and that you're actually a good person, be it male or female, and that you're actually not one of the ones that's getting a Be Humble award, then, and it's exploiting everybody, then you will have convinced us that it's worth to do good. Isn't that something? We can turn the whole ship around. Humanity could take a leap peacefully into a whole new world where the main character, Neo, of the original work, Immortals, which they said they put me on my screenplay, can do exactly what he does in the Immortals. Influence to do the right way, to make a good world, new world order. The architect in the Immortals actually puts the Neo character into primary council, and they put council in the Matrix. Primary council, the top council, out of secondary council, which has no power. And in primary council, he starts to work from the inside. They predicted this, that's what I would be doing. And he awards him and everything else. And what happens is the Smith character loses it.
Okay.
Because he wants to, and he doesn't understand why the architect's blocking everything from him. And that's why when in the original, the Smith's enhancer, Neuralink, is cut out by our Neo. And he's adapted to it and uses the memories to find the Cortex building in the dome. It's in the original work. And so what happens is he finds the dome because of Smith's anger about the architect never telling him what the dome is for. And that the anger is what draws the memory to Neo's attention to say that must be where it is. And that's how he finds the dome. Isn't that something? From using the Neuralink of Smith, from what Smith didn't even realize, but his anger is what he feels over that memory, and that's how he knows the dome is the center. That's something. So that's the original work. Of course, Wachowskis didn't understand it. So yeah.
It makes
So that's
sense.
where we're at. Yeah.
There's then they have that guy that was a traitor too. Remember the guy with the little mustache, and he's a short guy. And
Oh yeah. You're talking
gosh,
about Bane in the original? Bane?
yeah, that one.
Yeah, Bane is supposed to represent me in their work. And that's why he slices his hand twice right here.
Okay. Yeah,
Right
you
about that?
talked about
Slice-
it before. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure
Why?
that that's yeah.
Isn't that something? Yeah. The worst character, they're mocking the attorney or the actual writer. And like we said, the insider that contacted me and told me about, where to find my high school birthday, all that stuff in the first graphic and why they put it there, I would never have known for a split second upside down. But he said they're mocking you, they hate you because they don't understand the work, and they couldn't explain it to the suits when the suits asked. In that article, they said, we know we have something cool, we don't understand it. Chelsea couldn't explain it, so Joel Silver picks up the slack and tries to explain it at that meeting. He gets it wrong. Yeah.
Agents or robot
Yeah,
agents.
robot agents. How stupid. Robot-like agents raises the stakes and makes the stakes higher because you're not allowed to show feeling, right? If you show feeling, you're terminated. And so how do you control that when you're murdering innocents, right? Their whole system is doomed to fail and good will prevail. They just didn't think there was any good. Back to that again, that question. Is there a good man and a good woman? Is there humanity worth saving? And can you show to us that you actually do exist and you're not a fake? Their line of thinking is that they've been putting forward, even through Jerry Falwell, when Jerry Falwell was caught. He tried to use the defense that the only reason he was caught is he's better than those that aren't caught, that he's more innocent than those that aren't caught yet. So he would argue that I am more evil than him because I'm not caught yet. Caught for what? While their attorneys say Tom Althouse's hands are dirty. He's just as dirty as ours. No, I'm not. And one of the ways you can see it is, where's the rewards? Show me the money. Sofia Stewart claimed you were on set when it was released by that anonymous caller from the story department of Warner Brothers about the inserts, that first graphic. She lost it. Said, you were there on set. People need to realize she called me a lot. It's not this person at a distance. She called me a lot. Even tried to send a friend request because she wanted to utilize for Warner Brothers. I was supposed to handle me. And so she's saying you were on set and was foolish. You were an idiot because they took your work on set. You were able to steal the work on set with them and didn't get any money. I'm like, what? No, I hold the copyright. They don't. But she lost it and tried to say I was in collusion with them to try to keep it going. But she was defeated with that idea that, yeah, my personal stuff's in there, not hers. If she was actually the claimant that was legitimate, they'd have Sofia Stewart's information all through the first graphic, not mine. That's what she couldn't get around. But yeah. So if we prove to be good as we are, genuine, real, honest, compassionate, two things. You complete what I was calling for, what I was given a call for, the code, the actual code in the matrix, bring together good people and cross disciplines that can solve the world's problems, super soldiers, if you will. Or if that's not going to happen, then it completes the process their way. It's one or the other. There's two different things that are going to happen here, and I believe we're going to win. I do believe it because, again, their system's completely flawed. If it's based on power, all about power, the Disney caller says, taped, all about power. If it's all about power, then you're going to turn on each other in the end. And if that's the glue,
we're with you.
Hmm?
With you. We are with you, Chad and I've talked.
Oh, I feel it. I know it. I trust it 100%. I don't have one single inkling of a doubt.
Thank you. Yeah. One thing that I kind of worry in the back of my mind of the councils, because even though I keep hearing we're not your friends, we just wanted you, meaning us, to prove us wrong so that we don't destroy the humans on Earth, all of them at once, just like the same way they did it with the dinosaurs when the Sasquatches were here. You know what I mean? I just know that we earned their respect. Is that how you say it, or backward? Because we wouldn't give up. They would send bad people, good people, CIA, and we wouldn't break. And
That's
that's
right.
the difference.
That's it. That's exactly it. I was going through that today too. That's exactly it, Veronica. We lasted everything they could not last. We stood through everything they couldn't stand through. We stayed true with our character intact when they would have been broken in a puddle on the floor. And that fascinates them. That's like, and it also unnerves them. And their minions that are bought are sellouts. They got the easy ride. And they look bad in comparison. So therefore, that's why they hate us, is we make the minions look bad. And they know it. That's why they're angry and raging when they attack us online or things like that. You know, they get really upset because they feel like, and that's why they say ego, because we look better than them, even though we're not intending to. They feel it. They feel threatened. Their ego feels threatened because
They
we're
don't
actually.
even know, yeah, they don't even know what we're going through. Like, you
The
can't
hell.
see, they're bombarding you with the DEW, with the weapons. It's hell.
It is hell. Absolute horror and hell. It
This is
absolutely is.
hell. If people are saying, "Oh, there's heaven and hell," well, this is hell. To me, this is
Exactly.
hell.
Exactly.
I do feel like that it's orchestrated, and that maybe there's nefarious things orchestrating it, but that there's also higher beings that it, you know, like it's like that higher grace of God or whatever. It's like he'll bring you right to the edge and then bring you, you know, to the good side or whatever, but he'll bring you right to the brink of everything. So it's like he'll let them throw their tactics, but then he'll use them against you, you know, like with eventually the flow of it will turn against them and everything.
I agree. It's an opportunity to develop and shine and, well, actually develop. And so that's how I try to look at it, as that everything they throw at us, the more intense that they throw at us, the more intensity is involved in that, or that they're applying, indicates that, first of all, we're succeeding, and that we're the main focus, we're the main concern of theirs, that good can come about, that what we're doing matters. And so that's what's interesting. It's not a parameter of conferences or who's invited or not. It's really, who is the cabal focusing on? Who are they throwing most of their guns at? That's the meter, not what the media says. It's who the cabal is throwing the most at, from like the kitchen sink and the knives and the plates. That's what determines who's most influential in their concerns and parameters.
Okay, but is it the cabal, or is there something even higher watching us? I just get a sense there's something even higher watching us succeed all these things that they're throwing at us.
You're right. There's both. And it also goes along with the idea, this is something that just boggles my mind, which is part of the Immortals also. Is this all being done to stimulate other beings' minds? Are we the sitcom? Are we the show that's going to make their worlds more exciting and stimulating? Are we the Truman Show, with both factors coming against each other, with more beings? Like, there's things we can't account for happening in our lives, with synchronicities and things being thrown and timing, that we go, what? Like the light falling out of the sky in front of Truman, right? The fires popping up in front of us when we're off to do something good. It seems we're almost in a controlled sitcom show, where both sides are being controlled to get the stimulation and the ratings. It's like, I seriously.
Okay.
And
I feel like wiffle ball. I feel like it's wiffle ball, and we're like, or whatever it is, that disc that floats on air, and you just got to like fan it really hard and trying to influence it to go this way, and the other team's trying to influence it. I feel like both sides, that's what we got on us. The other one has a more direct, heavier influence. The cabal, you know, they're affecting us, you know, more directly now, and I think they've fallen out of line with that. But I do get the sense that the other good side is also, you know, because every time I hit rock bottom, I bounce, I do climb back up, you know, and I do at least hit rock bottom and I don't fall through, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
At least I didn't crash and die, you know, at least I can pick myself back up, and I'm considered really strong for that. But someone comes along and saves me right at the last minute, you know, and just gets me through. And then,
well, that's what I'm getting, is we're not in a matrix.
Yeah.
We're basically in a show. Mm-hmm. And it's for other beings. And it's like, that's what I keep getting. And even our side said it's a Truman Show. And it's like,
I wave at them. I do. I pretend I'm on a big screen and I wave at them. And sometimes I'm not waving, but I'm just
Here's the deal. Here's what I got. Here's what I got. Get this. Here's what I got. Some of us are stars to these other beings, right? The higher level. And so they actually have segments of their constituency or audience cheering us on. And you'll see things happen where it's almost like a producer getting, looking at the ratings going like, we can't lose this star. We got to keep him in this show. And we can't have him die off or her die off. We got to have him in. We got to have Veronica keep going here and Tom keep going and Chad keep going. And then we got to interplay it. And that's what the audience wants. They don't want to see Truman and Trumette disappear. And so it's like things will happen where an accident occurs and we walk off okay. Or it's like the setting is like we're finished and we walk right forward. It's like a hand comes down and says, okay.
Like I'm not kidding. I thought that's it. I'm gonna die now. That's it.
My extrapolation is that you and Chad are stars in the program. Yeah.
We're all stars.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I also tell him too, you
stars.
don't want me to die. Wait till I cross over you all. Wait till I cross over. I tell him.
Heads are gonna
you want
roll,
me to
right?
live.
So with
like,
that,
I can't wait to meet you all. That's
what's in the Truman Show. What's in the Truman Show? What is he locked in? A dome.
Dome. Yeah.
Right. And so what's happening is, if cameras fell out of the sky or lights fell out of the sky, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Me either.
I'm waiting for these ships to be decloaked and then they fall. I told you
what I said? Yeah.
You're not a cloud.
I wouldn't be surprised if we are going to show up at an award ceremony without a Be Humble award, and actually with the other side giving us things like the equivalent of an Emmy. Seriously, because what you said, we survived everything thrown at us.
Yeah.
We exceeded expectations from interstellar audiences.
So before we go, do you want me to tell you the other two dreams, or?
Yeah, please fire away, then we'll end.
Okay, so the other dream that I had was of, okay, you and I were holding hands. You had,
that's so sweet. Go ahead.
You had a blue suit on and a white shirt, blue suit. We were walking to some farmland, and then you told me telepathically, we're gonna go visit my mom. And I'm like, okay. So we're sitting still holding hands, and I didn't say a word. That's a miracle in itself. But you and I were telepathically communicating, and you were a little upset, and your mom, they brought her in. She was in a wheelchair. There was a table, like a kitchen table in the farm, some kind of farmland, like in a farmland. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like in a ranch. And
Ranch, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a lady, very thin lady with black long hair, she had bangs, and she was, I don't know if she was your mom's caretaker or what, because in the dreams they have these different personalities. They switch them up. They could be redheaded, whatever. It's just the frequency that really truly matters. So you guys were talking. She was telling you something, and it was something about the testament, something about the future, and you were like on the verge of crying and being angry. Like you really.
That would work, yeah, because it's probably my sister Trish. And the thing is that if we are successful in like documentary and things, and the CIA comes around and doesn't do, or FBI doesn't do this anymore, and we're successful and get name credit back, then you watch my two sisters hop back on board, and they would be there with my mom and stuff. So yeah. So
you have another sister.
She sold out too. My sister Julie got her to get right on board. So after she said she'd be.
Yeah, because this is not the sister that was in the other dream, the bad one, the really bad one.
Red-haired one. The red-haired one is the scary one. That's just off the charts gone. She needs to actually be institutionalized. I mean, she is just off the charts. Like, it's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. We wouldn't have moved thousands of miles away if we were trying to plot anything against you. I actually have a message for her saying, "No one's out to get you, Julie. No one's out to get you. Stop imagining this. Stop. Let's get some help. We're not out to get you." But she uses it anyway. The congressman wants her to say it. So in a manic voice. So yeah, that's the other sister that's really a nightmare.
Yeah. And so then later, we say goodbye or whatever, and she's taken up to the second floor, and it's like she's taken up on her wheelchair like that. Just like
a lift.
Yeah, like a lift. But you can't see it. It's like a thread, and you could barely see the white, line. and we leave. And the other one, the fourth dream that I've had of you is we are in like because Chad had, shown me a picture of the cabin that we were going to be in. But
Yeah.
then it looked like that, but at the same time, it could have been like a tavern, like combo. And for some reason, I have, I have material and then I'm measuring on the floor, right? And you're there, Chad and you guys are there and talking. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about this material. Like, I think I'm going to need another 1.5 feet. And then there's these two men in suits that come in that, they knock, and then you open the door, we're all there, and they give you paperwork and they say that they're going to give you $34 million. And then you put your glasses on to read and then you leave. Like, we're all happy because you're getting
Right. Yeah.
$34 million. That's what
That would line up too. It makes Sofia Stewart very angry, but it would definitely, yeah, it's very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words, Tom and Chad?
Well, the funny thing is that the tavern would actually fit because I loved going to the taverns at Colonial Williamsburg, Rockefeller's group, King's Tavern, Chowning's Tavern, and the others. So it was like, that's one place I would go and celebrate because Rockefeller's group was actually supportive until the Clintons group, through this lady named Joni Stevens, was a docent for Hillary Clinton, was on me all the time. And Robertson's group were hitting me at Rockefeller's group. And so the Rockefeller group was actually very, very nice to me. They were blown away by what I was doing and what I had and everything. So I could see the Rockefeller group coming around and being part of a celebration, because these organizations aren't going to poof into the air and disappear when we succeed. They're going to be making offers when we succeed. And so I wouldn't be against going to the tavern to celebrate and have you guys there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Get some, what is it called? Game pie, whatever it was. It was really cool. Anyway, yeah.
That sounds good. We'll talk a little bit after the show about what we were talking about in the beginning. Is that okay with you? Okay,
Sure.
Sounds good. So anything else before we go, guys? It's been 2 hours and we're gonna have Tom on again before we do the documentary.
Yay. All right.
Yeah, Chad, anything?
No, I have a lot to think about right now. Yes. Especially with the upper tier, that's what I just keep thinking about, the how that, because they definitely see themselves as apex predator, but then humanity, we're not really a predator, but does that, so but we should be respected, like it's just interesting how that's all gonna integrate somehow. I don't know. I see the dark crystal, like the light beings and the Pexies, and it's like but yeah, I think they can be influenced, like you're saying. They can be reasoned with. They're not total psychopaths, apex predators, like mentally insane, right? They can be reasoned with. So
isn't it something that our lives seem like it's part of a script, and they said they put us in a story, and it seems like we're in some superhero adventure. And what if suddenly the stage lights came off and we saw them coming up to us and saying, you were all part of a Truman Show. You were all part of a Truman Show. And here's actually, it's not as nefarious as you would think. It's not as dark as you would think. It was just a show. And you guys were the stars in the show. And now there's an awards ceremony, and now you get to see this universe as it really is. I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all in the end if it was just amped up, storyline that we were in.
There is something that I saw. Sorry, Tom.
On one level, there is one layer. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. In 2018 or 2017, I have it written down, but I told Chad about it that a lot of us were there in black and white tie affair. It was like in a mansion. They had chandeliers. They had all kinds of little cakes. They had food everywhere. It was a huge, huge, huge celebration. And these guys were like, they had money. And we were there.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me more than anything else. And it's like, it really does. It's the thing that rings the truest, is that's coming.
It is.
And it could be intergalactic. It could be like, they're saying, CIA saying intergalactic federation. It's like, we may see intergalactic beings that have watched us
we are
all this time.
We are. Because we're part of their bloodline. We have the wolf DNA, the lichen, the vampire, the Nephilim, the Anunnaki. I can go on and on. We are their family. Do you understand, guys out there? We're not just human. The humans are a range of bloodlines, but we have a God particle. Get it? The good thing. So,
can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I didn't know if my mic cut out there. It seemed like it disconnected. But it's like, that's the funny thing is that the people that take us on, that have been so vocal, are such minor characters in what I'm receiving. They're like such laughed by the whole intergalactic audience. They're just laughing at them as minor buffoons. And that's what's so wild. And they will not like the ending. They're not going to like the award ceremony because it's going to drive them crazy. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, this is pretty cool. But yeah.
They won't be invited.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Which is going to affect their ego of that they want to matter, you know?
They're going to see it on the screen, but they're not going to be able to be with us personally. That's what I see.
That's right. And that Be Humble award that I'm just laughing over. They may be told, look, we gave you that award to make you think that maybe you need to be humble, you know, and just try to help instead of help yourself off the suffering of others. So yeah. Anyway, cool.
But thanks for being on again, Tom. And thank you, Chad. We'll see you later. Thank you all for being on Codebreaker Real Talk. Please share this video so that Tom can be helped more, assisted. And soon enough, we'll have this documentary and we'll see you later. Thank you.